Hey, what's going on? I thought I'd make a video. It's kind of simple, but I think it's really important. I've been doing this for quite some time, and basically since I started fishing, I kind of started figuring out that I better start changing my hooks. And basically what I'm talking about is treble hooks. You know, treble hooks on all your baits. It's just one of those things I started doing when I was younger. When I first started fishing, I was kind of the guy, man. I didn't have a lot of money, and so I just kind of bought whatever hook I could, even on just regular, worm hooks. You know what I'm saying? And I'll never forget, I was on Livingston walking the bank as a kid, and I hooked into one about 9 or 10 pounds, which you don't catch very many like that on Livingston. And she jumped a couple times, and I got her close to me and come off, and I looked down at my hook, man, and it was kind of bent out. You know, it was straightened out, not straightened out all the way, but it just had enough of a bend, to where I think that's where I lost the fish. And I'll never forget, man, at a young age, I went out there and had me a rod and had me a pretty good reel and had me all these baits, and I still used like a cheap hook. I didn't know it was cheap really, but it's funny, you don't really want to like spend that money, but yet that's one of the main things that you need to catch these fish and not to lose any. And man, I just never wanted to go through that experience again, where my whole philosophy on all that stuff is if you take all the equations out of catching a fish, in the sense of not going to break your line, not going to bend a hook, not going to break your rod, your drag's not going to strip on your reel. If you take all that out, all you got to do is really just land the fish. And so I try to take all those things out of the equation, like I said, and that's where I kind of come to these treble hooks. I always threw crankbaits on Livingston growing up. You throw a lot of like 3XDs and any kind of little square bills and stuff that doesn't go much more than 6 foot, and I always change the hooks out. And the reason was I always wanted a little bit bigger hook that came standard. And so now though, I kind of got on one hook, and once I got hooked on that one, that's the one I always stayed with. And what I always used to throw were the owner treble stingers. Okay, the owner stingers. They might call them the stinger trebles, and that's what I've thrown probably for the last, man, at least 15 years. There's a couple reasons why I throw them, but there's a new hook out now, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. And this is the hook. This thing beats all of them, and it's just a new version of the owner, and it's like lights out. But I'll tell you the reason why I did this, the stinger trebles. So growing up on Rayburn, or fishing Rayburn so much, it wasn't always like this on other lakes, but Rayburn, especially like throwing a trap, some type of red eye, a crankbait, especially in the winter time, I saw it more in the winter than ever, is you'd get these fish that I think they wanted to bite something like that, but that they were so pressured that they slapped at it a lot. And so I know some guys out there use some of those Mustad hooks that kind of have those bent, they bend in. And I think those are great for once you hook a fish. Like, I don't think you're gonna lose them once you hook them. But we have a lot of those fish, like swipe at baits, where you hook them on the outside of the mouth. You barely skin hook them. And I always wanted a hook that didn't have that bend back towards the shank. I kind of wanted the bend and it to kind of go straight up. So if one just barely gets it, it can at least just get it like that, and maybe you at least have a chance to catch them. I always take a chance over catching one over never hooking it at all. So these stingers were the ones I threw for years. Like I said, 15 years. But then owner came out with this. It doesn't look much different, but it's their new Z-wire hook, and this thing is phenomenal. And I don't know what the deal is with it, and this is all I'm gonna say. All you gotta do is just go buy one pack. Go buy one pack and just feel them. And you don't have to look at them or nothing. Just picking them up is just crazy how sticky they are. And so that was the kind of deal, you know, that's one of those deals that I don't even have to like ask anyone about, like how good are these hooks. Man, when you just pick them up and you start messing around with them, they start sticking to your skin constantly. They're hard to actually mess with, they're so sticky. And that's what I like about them. And what's cool is they have, I don't know if you can see this, they have the smallest little bend right there. And the reason I like that is it still kind of comes out there, like I was talking about, you know, to where they'll still get one if one swipes at it or something. But that little bend, and you'll see it if you get it, it bends out. The other ones bend and continually bend, just like a perfect U. This one does that, and right when it gets to right there, there's a sharp little edge to it. And I think that really kind of hooks them in there a little bit better. I mean, we've been throwing these now for a while, and hadn't really lost any. The cool thing about this is that like they're the same, basically the same hook. They're a lot stronger. So you can still go with a thin wire hook on there, which, you know, gets a little bit better penetration. But I mean, you know, they're super strong. So I mean, you pretty much never have to worry about bending one out, no matter how big the fish is. So I'm sure everyone's gonna, you know, make one comment about this thing. It's silver. I get it. Like, silver hooks or saltwater hooks, that's what we've all been taught. I don't know why that all I mean, I understand it was galvanized and stuff, but I mean, everyone looks at a black hook and thinks that's, you know, that has to be a bass fishing hook and this has to be a saltwater hook. But man, that's just not the case. And so that's probably what people are always going to get hung up on. I promise you, if you just go touch them, you won't ever have an issue with them. I mean, you will instantly go, yep, that's probably the sharpest treble hook I've ever felt. So like I said, they come, I've got two different, I keep all, man, I love these things by owner. These boxes, I don't know if they started making these boxes for the Zowire hooks, but I actually keep both the regular ones and the other ones in this same box. But these are the packages. This is actually the 2X, like even crazy strong hook. But those are the two packages they come in if you want to look at them. But I'm telling you, man, these things are phenomenal. And I mean, I put them on, like I said, I switch out everything. This is Strike King's new wake bait, and so I got those on there. The hardest part is trying to find, man, you make 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s. I mean, Strike King makes all these different baits, and it's easy with the 6XD. All I got to do is put 2s on there. These are the ones that come on there. So I was going to sit out there and put some number 2s on this 6XD. I got a tournament coming up, so I usually fish with this just like it is in practice, and I don't put those other ones on. I basically don't put any of my hooks on until the night before the tournament. But that's what I wanted to share with y'all. It's like I said, it's crazy important to me to change those hooks. And like I said, I mean, if you're like me, I wouldn't say I'm superstitious, but it's one of those deals that I might change hooks out once or twice a day if I'm catching a whole bunch of fish, especially if I'm fishing like a lot of rock or something and you're always banging in. There's certain baits, kind of like a wake bait. I've seen some swim baits do it too. Certain big swim baits, you know, that have a lot of wobble like this, those treble hooks bang back and forth and rub against that bait, and they'll rub the point hook off. And I mean, if you're catching 30, 40 a day on something like that, I would suggest changing the hooks. Even, you know, you're talking 2 hooks a day, you know, you might go through, but I think it's imperative to have those, to do those things during a tournament, man, because when we're trying to, I mean, it's one fish we lose, and I feel like if it was because I was too lazy or didn't feel like changing the hooks, at least if I did lose a fish, I know it's not the hooks, I know it's not something I did, it's just, you know, bad luck. It happens to all of us. But try that next time you go out there. Go look for those. Like I said, they're owners Zowire hooks. Don't freak out about the silver stuff, man. I know everyone does. Just buy one pack, okay? Buy one pack, go check them out, and then after, I promise you, open up that pack, feel them one time, you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyways, comment below. Tell me if you picked some up, or if anybody's ever used them. Comment below. Tell me what y'all think about them. Good luck out there, man.